begin this story, we must go back to the 1800s. William Miller had begun a movement that became known as the Adventist movement or Millerite movement around the early mid-1800s and predicted the return of Christ visibly on 3 occasions during the year 1844. After this disappointment, the group split up into several new movements. 2 of those are known as the Seventh-day Adventist Church and the Advent Christian Church. In 1871, Nelson H. Barber, who had previously been associated with the Millerites, published his view on the matter, stating that Christ would return visibly in 1873. When this failed, he pushed the date to 1874. When Christ failed to appear once more, instead of admitting his error, he began teaching that his return had been invisible. He purportedly based his new conclusion on his findings in Benjamin Wilson's The Emphatic Diaglott Translation of the New Testament, noticing in it that at Matthew 24, the word the King James Version rendered coming is translated presence. In the summer of 1876, wealthy Russell paid Barber's way to Philadelphia and met with him to discuss both beliefs and finances. Russell became the magazine's financial backer and was added to the masthead as an assistant editor. He contributed articles for publication as well as monetary gifts, and Russell's small study group likewise became affiliated with Barber's. Together, Russell and Barber jointly published 3 Worlds and Harvest of This World. Russell and Barber believed and taught that Christ's invisible return in 1874 would be followed soon afterwards, in the spring of 1878, by the rapture, the bodily snatching away of believers to heaven. When this expected rapture failed to occur, the Herald's editor, Mr. Barber, came up with new light on this and other doctrines, like the rejection of the ransom sacrifice. Russell, however, rejected some of the new ideas. Finally, Russell quit the staff of the Adventist magazine and started his own. He called it Zion's Watchtower and Herald of Christ's Presence, and published its first issue July 1879. At this point, Charles Russell continued to view William Miller and Nelson Barber as instruments chosen by God to lead his people in the past. The formation of a distinct denomination around Russell was a gradual development. His disciples, however, saw the world war then raging as reason to believe the end was still imminent. According to instructions Russell left behind, his successor to the presidency would share power with an editorial committee and with the Watchtower Corporation's board of directors, whom Russell had appointed for life. But Vice President Joseph Franklin Judge Rutherford soon set about concentrating all organizational authority in his own hands. A skilled lawyer who had served as Russell's chief legal advisor, he combined legal prowess with what opponents undoubtedly saw as a Machiavellian approach to internal corporate politics. Thus, he used a loophole in their appointment to unseat the majority of the Watchtower directors without calling a membership vote. And he even had a subordinate summon the police into the Society's Brooklyn headquarters office to break up their board meeting and evict them from the premises. Faith on the March by A. H. Macmillan, page 78 through 80. In early May 1918, U.S. Attorney General Thomas Wyatt Gregory condemned the Finnish Mystery as one of the most dangerous examples of propaganda, a work written in extremely religious language and distributed in enormous numbers. Warrants were issued for the arrest of Rutherford and 7 other Watchtower directors who were charged under the 1917 Espionage Act of attempting to cause insubordination, disloyalty, refusal of duty in the armed forces, and obstructing the recruitment and enlistment of service of the U.S. while it was at war. On June 21st, 7 of them, including Rutherford, were sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. In March 1919, the directors were released on bail after an appeals court ruled they had been wrongly convicted.
So let's see what Rutherford was up to. And well, this was 1916. So this is still
the end of Russell, perhaps?
The end of Russell's term. This is Russell still involved.
Mm-hmm.
So while not wishing to fall for some misdirection used on local observers back in 1916, admittedly, it is possible that while expending the time and money mining for gold in the nearby Soda Mountains, that CTR may also have started mining and processing the available salt, soda, etc. at Soda Lake. Reportedly, many of the laborers were Germans, and it is believed that some or all may have been brought to Soda Springs from Germany, possibly due to the start of World War I. Some German miners settled in San Bernardino area after Russell's mining operations were abandoned, and one talked about his experience decades later.
Oh, read that headline there.
The headline is J.F. Rutherford strongly pro-German.
Okay, just to go back, maybe that prior bit was Rutherford. At what point was Russell off in Europe?
Well, right at the end.
Okay, well
Rutherford was
I
taken
believe
over.
Russell is off in Europe for this, and this is all about.
And remember, Rutherford took over the interest rate up here?
Yeah.
So a new partnership composed of J.F. Rutherford and E.W.V. Kewen.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the guys that own the mine, the new partnership.
Yeah.
And then Kewen split from their religion
In 2020.
in 2020.
1920.
Yeah.
And so, Mina Film Company Incorporated was founded the following year, March 1916, in New Jersey. With a capitalization of $250,000, George Driscoll relocated to Hollywood, California, to act as the manager of Mina Film Studios, while Pyramid Film Company produced films on a variety of secular topics. Mina Film Company was intended to produce films on biblical topics. The original incorporators of Mina Film Company was a who's who of prominent Russellites from across the United States. Ernest W.V. Kuhn.
So a new partnership composed of J.F. Rutherford and E.W.V. Kewen.
From Toledo, Ohio. That's the person that we just mentioned that was investing a lot of money in bringing Germans to California. Think about that, friends.
Jesús dice, cuando el Hijo del Hombre venga en su gloria y todos los ángeles con él, se sentará en su glorioso trono. Pero quizás esté pensando, bueno, ¿cuándo sucedió eso? Antes, hermano, creíamos que Jesús se sentó en su glorioso trono en el 1914. Pero el conocimiento más actualizado, en años no tan recientes, pero más recientes, se nos ha explicado que esto sucederá en el futuro cercano. Jesucristo se sentará en su glorioso trono después de la destrucción de todas las religiones falsas. Y justamente antes del Armagedón, Jesús se va a sentar como juez y va a mirar el corazón mío, lo que he hecho, lo que no he hecho, la actitud. También mirará el corazón de todos los que estamos aquí presentes y de todas las naciones. Y por ende, la segunda parte, en el versículo 32, dice que entonces va a separar a las ovejas y las cabras, ¿verdad? Dice
Yeah, so quite wild. The original video is like 10 minutes long, and then the rest of the talk, the speaker just goes over the requirements to be considered a sheep. You know, you have to support Christ's brothers, aka the governing body, so more of the usual, but I just found that clip extremely interesting. At first I thought the Reddit user was just kind of misunderstanding the Spanish, but I'm a Spanish speaker myself, and the speaker was very clear. He says that Jesus will be enthroned during the Great Tribulation after the fall of false religion, and he wasn't enthroned back in 1914 as they used to believe. So what is going on? Has this speaker gone rogue? Maybe I really doubt that he doesn't understand the 1914 teaching if he's giving a talk in the regional convention. He must be maybe like someone visiting from the branch or someone very important in Puerto Rico itself. But it's just so bizarre that he would say that Jesus was not enthroned in 1914 when this is a core teaching in the JW world.